Megan Yarborough. She is doing a resources for informing project out of the advanced manual. Megan has been an active realtor of the Valley for the last 10 years. When she first started her real estate career, our economy was going through the Great Recession of the late 2000s. She figured if she could learn to be successful in that market, she could make it in any market. She cut her teeth by selling short sale homes and foreclosures. It was a difficult, emotional time for her clients. Now that the market has stabilized, she has many clients asking when the next recession will happen or when the bubble will burst. Today, Megan will be speaking about current trends and predictors of the U.S. economy, specifically related to the housing market. She would like feedback on whether this information is relevant and interesting to you, and if this would be information you are likely to share with others. Her speech is titled, "Don't Be Afraid of the Real Estate Market." Thank you.
It's Halloween. As you can tell, I love Halloween. Everywhere around you, you see ghosts and goblins, witches and vampires. Are we scared? Or do you think we could take the sheet off and see the smiling child underneath? So why is it that we have a little ghostly sheet over the real estate market? Why is everyone so scared about what's coming up next? The Great Recession, or also known as the financial crisis of 2008, was a really hard time for everybody. It was also the time I decided it was a smart move to get into real estate. But it was a rough time for a lot of people. How many of you might have been personally affected or know someone that has lost their home, lost their job? Yeah, you know somebody at least, if it wasn't you. People were going to their ATMs and seeing insufficient funds and didn't know if it was them or the bank. People were looking at their 401k and thinking, why is it now 102.5K? But joking aside, it was a rough time. And because of the change in the market, the prices are going up really, really fast. If you bought a house in 2011 at, say, $200,000, right now it's most likely double that. And that's kind of scaring some buyers now. I've gotten clients now asking me, well, when's the bubble gonna burst? When's the next recession? And they're afraid to jump into that market, or they're afraid to sell their house because what are they gonna do next? So today we're gonna talk a little bit about recessions and how they happen. So the question isn't if there's going to be another recession, it's when there's going to be another recession. According to Lawrence Yun, who is the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, there were 2 recessions in the 1970s, there were 2 in the 1980s, there was 1 in the 1990s, and there were 2 in the 2000s. We haven't had one since 2010. So everyone's scratching their head, when's the next one? In the 70s, it was related to the energy crisis. Would that happen again? Would that be a likely trigger? Probably not, because the US is actually the biggest oil producer in the world right now, if you can believe it. Would it be overextension of consumer debt? Probably not either. What they're showing is that consumer debt is on a rise of 5% a year, which sounds like a lot, but indicators show that before every recession, consumer debt was hovering around 10%. So still, not a big deal there. And what about the housing market? See, that's the important one, because we all remember The Big Short, don't we? This year, we are likely to sell over 6 million homes and new builds this entire year. Does that sound like too much, or does it sound like a lot? We don't know. But it's exactly the same level it was in the year 2000 when we were considered a very stable market. So most likely, there's not going to be a housing bubble burst. And builders are building new houses finally. Has anyone heard the phrase, there's not a lot of inventory, there's not a lot of inventory? It's kind of, yeah. What that is how much houses are actually on the market per how many buyers there are to go buy those houses. And to give you an example, does anybody know if it's a buyer's or a seller's market? I know you've heard these terms before, but does anyone actually know what it is? No? No? You probably know.
Yeah, probably.
You're not allowed to answer. Well, let's play with this little game here. This is 0 months, 6 months, 12 months. What this is measuring is how many months inventory is on the market. When you're at 6 months, it's an even market, so it's not a buyer or seller market. When you're at 12 months, it's a buyer's market. That means there's inventory that's sitting there for a long, long time, so sellers want the buyers to come and take it. And when you're on the other end, it's a seller's market, which means there's not enough houses for the buyers that are out there. So an example I got, we're going under $300,000 homes, which is kind of the sweet spot of what middle-class Americans are looking for. In Scottsdale, under $300,000, there's only 275 active listings. In the last 90 days, we've sold 358 homes in the last 90 days. So that averages about 120 homes per month, which gives us an inventory of 2.29 months of inventory. That means if no new homes come to the market, these 275 homes are going to be gone in a little over 2 months. So buyer's market or seller's market? Seller's market, and it's an extreme seller's market. So inventory is good, that is on the rise, and it's creating jobs and it's creating homes. The problem is those prices are going up. In a National Association of Realtor quarterly report, we are up 10% in home values the same time last year. That's a huge jump. Considering normal rate is about 2 to 3% a year. It kind of matches inflation. So, okay, yeah. So when there's low bidding, when there's low amount of houses, prices are going up, it's because there's tons of buyers that are going out and doing bidding wars, which keeps the prices going up. And now everyone's like, well, this is just like 2005. This is just like 2006 when I wanted a home back then and the prices kept going up and I couldn't get a house then and it got so expensive and then the market crashed, right? But the things that are different between now and then, big part of it is the lender policies now. Back in 2005, if you had a pulse, you could buy a house. That is so not the case right now. It's actually kind of hard to get a loan now, right, Rich?
Yes.
Lenders have potential home buyers jumping through hoops to make sure they're actually qualified and able to actually afford their home. And this is mandated and protected by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. There's government agencies watching and making sure that the people that are buying the houses can afford them. Also, what we're seeing too is based on, since 1975 and adjusted for inflation, the median income really hasn't changed. But houses are getting bigger and more expensive, so you've got a little less buyers in that end. So yes, hopefully this is kind of alleviating yourself on the recession and whether it's going to be a good time or a bad time to buy. Can't help you about the ghosts and goblins, so.
Thank you, Megan. All right, can we get 3 minutes on the clock, please?